Welcome back to Fox and Friends. Well, despite security concerns, thousands of Iraqis are headed to the polls today. A few hours left. So what could the outcome mean for the future of Iraq?
Joining us is Brett McGurk. He's with the Council on Foreign Relations, formerly the National Security Council. Brett, hi.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Earlier, I had said there were 2,600 candidates. Actually, I transposed the numbers. There's 6,200 candidates on the ballot. Is this democracy flourishing or something else?
Well, there's really 6 main party coalitions running, and voters get to pick a party coalition and then an individual candidate. The Iraqis have had more elections over the last 4 years than we've had, so they know how to do elections. It's a big ballot, but there's been a lot of debate. There's been debates on television, and we'll see what happens today. We won't really know who wins, though, for a couple weeks.
There's some question, though, whether or not this is democracy or Iraqracy, because there are some people running on these ballots who were former Saddam sympathizers, Ba'ath Party sympathizers, who have supported Muqtada al-Sadr. We might label them terrorists who could be elected in this government, right?
Well, call it what you will. At the end of the day, you have Iraqis going to choose who they want to govern them, and the election has been trying to respond to the electorate. So you've seen some of the Shia parties actually running on these wedge issues, such as the Ba'ath Party overhang, which is very serious to a lot of the Shia in Iraq and the Kurds and a lot of the Sunni Arabs. Yeah. They're talking about corruption, they're talking about security, they're talking about economics. But really, this is the first step in a process. Before you have a negotiation, you shape the table, who's in the room, who sits where, and whoever wins this election, who gets the most number of votes, will have the right to select the prime minister, try to set up a government. But remember 2005, we had about 5 months before they formed a government. We hope that doesn't happen again, but it might take that long. It's going to be it's a real horse race. We don't know who's going to win, and the coalitions have to come together to form a majority coalition to govern.
Is there a way that the elections today could end badly for the U.S., a candidate that we really don't want there?
I mean, we're going to accept whoever wins. I think what's interesting is the Iraqi dynamic, the Kurds, the Sunnis, the many different coalitions with the Shia, and then you have a lot of different parties now. The Kurds have 2 main slates, so there's a lot of competition. Whoever comes out of that process, is going to be a long process, is going to have the consent of all the major groups, and we'll be able to work with whoever that might be, but we don't know who it's going to be.
A lot of what I've been reading about the discontent from Iraqis has been around services, just basic services. They want roads paved, they want schools fixed, they want electricity to reach all corners of Iraq. They're not getting that yet, and they're sort of tired of all this politics back and forth between all of these people. Is it going to be a long time before they start to see this sort of thing? Well,
the precondition to everything, as we've learned, is security. Without security, none of that stuff happens. And what President Maliki's running on is, hey, I've helped bring you security. The U.S. had a lot to do with that, with the surge. So with security, things follow. So there's been security now for a couple of years. It's better. They're now signing deals to develop their oil industry. I mean, oil companies are now signing deals with Iraq in which they're saying, the companies are saying, Iraq can pump as much oil as Saudi Arabia in 10 years. That is a lot of money for the Iraqis and the Iraqi people. So there's real potential here. But, they're talking about economics, corruption, security, and we're going to have to see who wins. But it'll be the next few months will be very interesting.
All right, Brett McGurk from the Council on Foreign Relations, thanks so much for coming in.
Great. Thanks for having me, Brett.
We're coming up here on